nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, where was I? Oops.
All right. Do we have any board or committee reports? No. What? Quick reminder.
Just like to remind the selectmen that the continuation of the public hearing, special permit public hearing for 6769 Newburyport Turnpike is next Wednesday, the 16th, 7:15. So, and we need 4 of you there.
All right, and Chuck, you're gonna have to review the tape because you didn't make the first
You're
one.
right. I started it online, I did not finish it.
Okay, good.
But-
Because are you gonna make it?
Yes.
Okay, no, I'm talking to Mike because,
I'm sorry.
no, okay.
Yeah, as I
What was the
mentioned,
date
I'll be out
again?
of town next week. so-
Yeah, so that's why, okay, you're being
Mark,
out of
what was
town,
the date
means
again?
Chuck has to be here and has to
Do
review
we need
it.
a super?
11:16.
Do we need a super majority?
Yeah,
We need a
At
super
night?
majority?
we need,
7. Okay, is that a Tuesday? Okay, thank you.
November? October, not 11, 10.
Oh,
Martha's gonna be darkening your door, the sunlight coming through your door to get you there.
I can do that.
Martha,
Gotten fairly good at that.
not to put you on the spot again, are all the things that seem to be burdensome clearing up? Then I try to flip it around.
We had a site visit on the 25th. The Conservation Commission and some of the planning board members were there. The engineer's in the process of revising the drawings, and we're hoping they'll be submitted this week so that the review engineer can look at them and the Conservation Commission can review them. They're meeting the night before, they're meeting on the 15th, so the hope is that everything will be ironed out by the time it gets to us next Wednesday.
At the site that it was as restrictive as it seemed, needing fencing on the backside for the driveway, or is it open up?
There was just. Do you want to add anything? And there was discussion about, changing some of those things, and they're in the process of being reviewed.
Is it that hard, is it still gonna be that hard a site, Doug, or is it starting to straighten out?
I think it's a tough site, but I think some of the things are going to work out for them. I think they're going to change the slope on the right-hand side when you first come in. They're going to add a vegetated swale so they can get credits for some LID. That vegetated swale is going to add 3 feet to the shoulder up above, so that's going to be helpful a little bit for safety. Their soils looked fairly decent down back. Where their retention was, they had a D soil. Where their infiltration was, 20 feet away, they ended up with a B. So that's certainly going to help them. So it looks like they're going to be able to put a program together now and make that successful.
Thanks, Doug.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Martha? No, that's it. All right, we have no public hearing scheduled tonight. Town administrators report. You got anything, Trace?
Just a couple of things. We got a notice from NextEra Energy in Seabrook that the station will be conducting a drill between 8:15 and 8:45 a.m. on Wednesday, October 9th. So one siren will be sounded. I also have for you guys to take and review the job description for the senior support staff for the fire department. You had requested that town council put something together. So, take some time and look at that, and maybe, Selectman Belgaris, would you bring that back to the fire engineers for their
Yep.
review and comment for future adoption?
Perfect.
And just wanted to bring to your attention one item on the warrant. I believe it was Article 3. I had sent you an email that we would all, after consideration by the Capital Planning Committee and Article 4, the article to appropriate a sum of $77,800 for the alarm system, the new alarm system. I had an opportunity to speak with the chief and the deputy chief, and at this point in time, we're gonna recommend we move no action and take it up in the spring, when they can have a more, complete, CPC can conduct a more complete review of the proposal.
Okay.
And that was communicated to the fire engineers and everything?
To the chief and the deputy chief,
Okay,
yep. And they had no issue with it holding up. They didn't feel that it was in any imminent danger of failure or anything like that. It could wait until the spring.
Now, there's been all kinds of information and misinformation going around on this, right, Mike? Okay, I don't know much about it, but one thing I think that everyone should realize is what this is an attempt, I don't say an attempt, but it's moving forward into a better system using the current notification system in that they're gonna go wireless instead of hardwired.
Right.
Is that
That's exactly
kind of a
what
gist
is.
of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's been all kinds of things, it's gonna be a total different, gonna be silent, it's not, and what it's gonna do is, it's just gonna get the signal to the sirens a little bit
In
different
other
way.
words, it's not gonna go hardwire anymore, it's gonna
Yeah.
be,
So
and, radio transmitter boxes with backup batteries.
So anyway, that's the thing that people need to realize, because there's been a lot of different descriptions of what's gonna happen, and,
Can I add something to what you're doing?
yeah, that's,
And I think the reason capital planning is involved more than anything is because they wanna make sure the new system, even though they're upgrading it now, can be used in whatever buildings or whatever, because they're gonna have to put part of this into the police station, into the communications center, and they don't wanna have to, they wanna make sure it's, you can build on it and not throw it out when you have to put up a new building or something else. They wanna be able
Sure
to
it's
utilize
compatible.
what they're buying now, and so it, can go into the new facility too.
Mike, you know, not to put you on the spot, because you might not know, how do you do that? Are they gonna have to hire someone that has put them in before? I mean, how are they
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
go about
I mean,
finding that out?
Yeah, well, you have, see, they do business with, this company in Georgetown, LW Bills, they do a lot of them, but I imagine it's gonna go out to bid. I imagine there'll be, because there are numerous, companies that put out this sort of thing.
Okay,
So, I imagine it'll be,
but I mean, I wonder who's gonna review that bid? I mean, is there a clerk of the works to know if there's enough stuff that it'll take all the, add-ons? I suppose there's some that have
Yeah.
worked well, and we just, you know, we'll go by that.
Amesbury's been updating for the last 5 years right now, and that's the whole system they're going with. So there's a pretty good indication. You know, they're a pretty good fire department. And not that we're not, don't get me wrong there, it's just, you know, we're following their lead.
all right.
That's
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. New business, we have a request for entertainment license for Plum Island Grill Thursday evenings from 6 to 10 for 12 consecutive weeks, beginning October 31st. Everything appropriate as far as paperwork, Kathy? It's really no big difference from the requirements in the liquor, right? Okay, all right.
Motion we accept.
second.
All right, any other discussion on it or questions? No? All in favor?
Aye.
A one-day liquor license, Boston's Best Bartending for function at the
Spencer, little,
Spencer Pierce Little Farm on October 26th from 3 to 9:30 PM. And again, Kathy, everything in order? Okay, motion?
To accept.
second.
Any other discussions, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
One-day liquor license protection number 2 for a function October 20th from 2 to 6 PM. All set, Kathy?
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
One-day liquor license for the Spencer Pierce Little Farm for an
A
event,
lot of drinking going on.
for an event Saturday, October 19th from 12 to 6 PM. Again, we're all set? Motion,
Motion.
second?
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we have an appointment to the Board of Registrars to replace Francis Webb, and the recommendations from the Republican Town Committee and the town clerk for consideration. I don't have that. Okay. All right, have we got that?
Right here. I believe, no, but you can have this one.
Okay.
Maybe I grabbed yours, could've.
Oh, supposed to bring our iPad?
Yeah.
I just lost my Wi-Fi connection, so I can't read
no.
anything. Don't you love technology?
All right, anyway, the Republican Party has expressed interest in Nancy Jones of Fordham Way for the position of registrar to replace Francis Webb. And this is the only recommendation we've got at this point?
No, there's one from the Republican Committee, it's probably the sheet in front of that.
I've got my Wi-Fi back now. So, it's in there. This is from Linda Allen.
Yes,
Is the other one from Linda too?
no, it's actually from Leslie.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
this one's
this
from
from
Leslie and
Leslie.
that one's from Linda. I
Yeah.
got you.
Okay, in reviewing the Republican voter list, we recommend the following: Mr. Merrill Beckett, Mr. Summer Meisenheimer, and Mrs. Donna Finnegan, Ms. Donna Finnegan. Okay, we gotta appoint one. I don't know, I know one person, Nancy Jones, I don't know the others. Why don't, we act on it at the next meeting and try and find out who these people are and who we want on there? That make sense?
Why don't we have them give us a recommendation?
Well-
Isn't that normally how we? go
That's what
about
we
that?
have.
We have it.
Well,
They're kinda
yeah, but they gave us three, not one, and
Yep.
No,
Linda gave us 3, and Leslie gave us 1.
yeah, but Leslie is the one that's in charge of them, right?
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
So why don't we go with,
Okay, do you want to just go with that, or do you want to wait till the next meeting?
I'd like to wait till the next meeting and learn more about these.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
let me ask
I don't
a
think there's any
question before we
god
go
awful.
forward.
Okay.
I will be the first to say, I'm not so sure I understand what that Board of Registrar, what that entails.
They certify voting lists, if we have a recall on an election, they would be the ones that would, be in control of that. They usually check people in at town meetings, that's your Board of Registrars, that's doing the checking at town
Okay.
meetings. They don't have a lot of things to do, but when things happen, they can be important.
How many are there?
There are 3. Harry Fish,
So, yeah.
yeah,
Francis,
Carpenter.
and
and
Francis
Carpenter.
was
Webb.
Francis Webb.
Webb, yeah.
And by law, we have to send a letter, the selectmen send a letter to the 2 town committees, Republican and Democrat, ask them if they have any recommendations. They cannot be officers on the committees, they have to just be members. So we got a letter back from Linda from the Republican committee. Francis, I believe, was a Republican, so the Democrat did not submit us a list. And then Leslie had talked with Mrs. Jones, and she expressed an interest in the time to take on the task, so Leslie gave us a recommendation. And she talked to Linda about it, and Linda was fine with it,
Yep.
but
Okay,
that's
so
where
so
the-
Linda was
that's
fine
where
with
the-
Nancy?
Yes,
All right,
that's
so-
where the
Yeah,
nomination
that's,
came from.
I'm ready to make a motion for.
What do you think, Dave?
I don't know, I mean, I'd just like to give everybody a
Okay.
chance, so it's just, we may end up coming to the inevitable conclusion, but I'd just
Okay.
like to learn more about, you know, each.
All right,
one.
so we'll put that on for next time, Kathy?
You said there's no rush on this, right?
Yeah.
No,
Okay. Application for, new Class 2 license. Steve Service, Main Street, Byfield. Now, he hasn't had a license before?
He has an automobile repair license,
Yeah.
but he does not have a Class 2 license.
Okay,
That enables him to buy parts from, used cars and things like
Yep.
that.
all right, motion,
Motion.
second?
Second.
Okay. Questions, comments? Okay.
He's been there a long time.
He's been there over 30 years
Now,
and
where is
always
it
under the
exactly?
radar, nice guy.
Where is it?
Right in the corner of,
Right across
I
from the
know, I know
library.
where,
Yeah.
I got it,
Yeah.
That's what I wondered, yep,
okay,
I'm fine.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Shellfish Commissioners. No, you got the,
I'll give it to you, yeah.
all right,
It's not in the packet.
it's not in the
We don't
packet.
have it.
I don't have it. All right, we can wing it. Anyway, Jeffrey, have you got anything or,
Yeah, we just made a recommendation to take the zero tolerance level in town to 5% to meet the state. That's what we're recommending.
okay. What's,
The zero tolerance level seems very excessive. It just doesn't seem to be right when the state law is 5%.
and that's a result of, when you had a fish commissioner meeting, and that's what you decided to do? Okay, now, where's that other document that I was looking at earlier? Now, I'll read something, and it's gonna make it confusing. And this is from town council.
Oh.
And town council says, the only thing to do is to read it. You have requested guidance concerning a potential conflict of interest with respect
Respect.
to the Newbury Clam Warden, an appointed official who is also in the business of commercial clamming. In particular, there is concern about whether there may be a violation of the conflict of interest law when the clam warden acts in his official capacity. Additionally, there are questions concerning potential conflicts of interest with respect to the members of the, and she wrote, and it's a mistake, Newbury Shellfish Advisory Board, because we have fish commissioners. Some towns call it that, I guess, and that's probably where that comes from. It's important to note that at the outset, that these are two separate situations. Number one, the appointed clam warden, and number two, the elected Shellfish Advisory Board. The analyses under section 19 differs depending on whether someone is appointed and therefore has an appointing authority who can give them an exemption from that section, or is elected and therefore has no appointing authority. General Law 26(8)(a)(19) prevents a municipal employee from participating in manners in which they or certain other persons associated with them have a financial interest. General Law 268(a)(17) states the following: no municipal employee shall, otherwise than is provided by law, for the proper discharge of official duties, directly or indirectly, receive or request compensation from anyone other than the city or town or municipal agency in relation to any particular matter in which the same city or town is a party or has a substantial interest. No person shall knowingly otherwise than, as provided by law for the proper discharge of official duties, directly or indirectly, give, promise, or offer such compensation. That's not here.
If that's one of the two situations, I guess, yeah.
Now, the thing that gets into here is when you have an appointed town official enforcing regulations in the area in which he operates a private business, or there is indeed a potential for issues under General Law 268(a)(19), but there's also a ready solution. The appointing authority can give the official an exemption from Section 19. Here, the way that would work would be that the clam ward would fill out the attached Section 19 disclosure from identifying what he needs to do in a particular situation where he or his competitor shell fishermen have a financial interest. His appointing authority, the Board of Selectmen, can then decide whether to and what extent they want to exempt him from Section 19 so he can do his job. the board can give them permission to do some things and not others. For example, make decisions about his own business. The board can attach appropriate conditions, et cetera. And it's important to note that the exemption can only be given in writing and in advance. Okay, the completed disclosure form needs to be maintained as a public record. With respect to the elected Shellfish Advisory Board, or in the case of Newbury, the Fish Commissioners, they may be able to use the exemption of 930 CMR 6.23 set forth below. The purpose of this exemption is to permit people who are serving on a public board due to expertise they possess and pursuant to a legal requirement that the board have such membership to participate in determinations of general policy without violating Section 19. If the town does not have a requirement that its Shellfish Advisory Board members also be commercial fishermen, the town can adopt such a requirement in order to be able to utilize the exception. The exemption permitting persons serving as members of public boards pursuant to legal requirements that the boards have members with a specified affiliation. So what they're saying is, in some cases, these are appointed boards, I believe. You can put people on there, like, for instance, you guys, because you've got an expertise on it, rather than me, who, my idea of a clam is a fried clam, okay? I mean, you know, seriously, I would go down there, wouldn't know how to read the flats or where to dig a clam. So, anyway, but so that's where they give that, the ability to do that. Now, am I mistaken, or was there something in, this talks about appointed, does it talk about the elected?
It's elected, right, on the second page, second paragraph, with respect to the elected.
Okay,
shellfish.
so,
And you just read that.
yeah, that's what I just read, so it's, with respect to the elected, they can do that, but my question is, because of something came up earlier, do we have to do something ahead of the time of them making the recommendation, a disclosure form, so that we keep them out of trouble?
We did the disclosures with the Shellfish Constable.
Right,
The fish commissioners are elected officials. It's up to them to contact ethics directly. Like, the Ethics Commission would not have a conversation with me regarding
Okay.
our fish commissioners, because they're elected officials. So they have to contact them directly and get advice from the Ethics Commission, and then follow that advice.
and what that would do is, because there was a statement in here that it has to be done ahead of time, so that if you do it ahead of time, then someone can't say you didn't have the right to do that, to keep you guys out of trouble, okay? And what I would like to do after doing this is get you a copy of this opinion, each of you, okay? And Tracy, I'll volunteer for her for everything. Can you get the phone numbers and the people to contact? Oh, okay, you've got
Yeah.
that?
But I mean,
Yeah.
one quick question, and I might not be reading this right. Do we have that definition within our town that the shellfish have to be shell fishermen to be on the board, the elected board?
No, there's nothing that requires it.
Does this require that to be, so they can get the exemption if you read that kind of again?
No, no, we have, our shellfish commissioners are elected. I think, back when I first came, I think in 2011, our town council at the time, Tony Penske, had recommended that, acknowledged the issue here, and recommended to town meeting and to the Board of Selectmen that we make it appointed. If they were appointed, they could file the disclosures similar to what Mr. Colby filed, and the issue would be resolved, but,
The only thing I'm reading in this, and we gotta have time to look at this, guy.
oh
you
yeah,
know,
there's no
I'm
action.
reading this, and I don't know if I understand it yet. The purpose of the exemption is to permit people who are serving in a public board due to the expertise they possess pursuant to legal requirements that the board have such membership to participate in determinations, general policy without violating Section 19. So you can bring up what you're bringing up tonight. If the town does not have a requirement that its Shellfish Advisory Board also be commercial fishermen, the town can adopt such a requirement in order to utilize the exemption. No? So
We
I'm
don't-
not getting that right.
I mean, Kathy,
Anyway,
you did some research on
Paul,
that. There
you
was
s-
no
did you call?
requirement.
That number?
Paul called.
Paul did. Okay, were they happy with you when you explained?
I explained everything.
Okay, that doesn't,
He also said, get appointed just like he can say the name and go from that. That's what he told me.
he said to do what now?
Get appointed to cover yourself.
They
Okay.
they
Get the
recommended.
disclosure
that-
is what he's saying.
So now I'm understanding if you're appointed as well as being elected, that.
No.
You do one or the other, you can't
okay,
do
now-
both.
No.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so what we would need to do is bring an article to town meeting that
To
would
me.
convert the Fish Commission from elected to
And
appointed. and
we
then it
have
gets-
the article, we have
Yeah.
it's already
right, and
drafted.
then-
Okay,
Then it gets
okay.
easy.
It's too late to put it on the fall town meeting, right?
No, we could do it at the annual town meeting. If the, you know, if that's what
Yeah.
you'd like to see happen, we can do it for the annual town meeting.
Okay, so is that, you're sitting back there, and you had the conversation, does that make sense after your conversation?
yeah.
That's what you'd like to do?
Yep.
Okay, so, now, the question is, what do we do between now and April so that we don't get into trouble? That's my, have you got any ideas?
Probably not make any, I mean, can you go for that period of time without making any recommendations?
What day would that be? What month is that again?
April.
Yeah.
When are the new laws come up? Do we do that in March?
But
Do they have to
Do
be
it-
in March?
Well,
after the town meeting.
no, but what I'm thinking also, I mean, the Board of Selectmen actually approves the the regulations, so what we could do is say, we'll continue the regulations till after the town meeting or whatever, and then if you want to change anything, then the Fish Commissioners could recommend to the Boards of Selectmen for some changes, because
But what ethics said is they shouldn't even be making recommendations.
No, I
Is
mean-
that correct?
but after, what I'm saying is that, as the Board of
This
Selectmen,
has all been going through,
Yep,
all these recommendations that we've been putting through,
yep.
all the fish commissioners have been clam diggers. So in actuality, all these rules and regulations that we submitted before you, or the
From the
past
beginning.
fish commissioners, are really no good.
well, I mean,
Well, not so much. The big thing that kicked in on something, I forget it was a couple of years ago, is, it goes back to ignorance is bliss.
Oh, yeah, right.
In that, once you know you're doing something wrong, there's
Stop.
problems. You know, that's where the problem comes. Now we know that we're doing something wrong, so,
Right.
like, after reading this, just so that we don't get in trouble, what I'd like to see is, and instead of making a thing, is talk to the selectmen individually or something like that. And I think we should really put off any changes until we get,
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
okay? So, like I say, your recommendation is to change the way it's counted. I think we should try and live with it for the winter, until we can change it. If we'd done this 3 weeks ago, we could have gone on a fall town meeting. But,
Yeah, yeah.
what, do you think that's right, Jeff, or
Yes, that's right.
you agree?
Yep.
Okay. So that's what we'll do, so, and then, and then we'll, it's up to you guys to schedule your meetings and stuff. So, is there a drop dead date of having to do it in March?
If you do have permits end of March, you can pick up April 1st.
but again, I'm saying the Board of Selectmen are the ones that officially approve the regulations, so we could continue with the current regulations
Yeah.
until after annual town meeting, and then we get
Talking
stuff
the
sorted out,
licenses,
and then
right?
you can go back to making recommendations.
He's talking about the issuance of the commercial licenses.
Yeah, but I don't think that's,
That has all our.
you think that's,
But what happens is when they issue the permits, you also have the application with the rules and regulations on it. So we'd like to get the rules and regulations
All right.
together before we
yeah, but
give
I,
out the
Well,
next
I think
permit.
what we might be able to do is,
I think we're
You
talking.
can
maybe the
revise them.
selectmen
Yeah, we're
could do
talking
it.
past each other, because I think the selectmen can revise them if needed.
Yeah,
Yep.
And then, now the question is there any conflict with them being the folks that actually hand out the licenses? Or I mean, that seems pretty routine, isn't it? I mean, it's not like, do you ever get into situations where,
That's the major
We can't
conflict.
do ours, but we can
Yeah.
do everyone else's.
yeah,
yeah.
I can't sign Jeff's or mine,
And we can find out if there's a conflict on that, and, bypass you people for the year. We can sign them for a year. Okay, come to us, you know, when, could be, don't they usually come to you as a batch?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they all come in April, I mean.
so find out if there's a conflict with it, okay, in the guys in Boston. And if there is, just tell us, and it's something
You
that
can
gets
take
thrown
the
to us.
action.
And then after we get that changed over, then it'll go back.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
Fine with that.
anything else we should consider? Because you
Well,
guys did
yes,
talk to
there-
them.
There is a thing that we, like, Mr. Colby's a constable, and he's appointed. We used to have deputies. We don't want to get paid, but we would like to enforce some of the rules and regulations that we have in there. Me and Paul would like to recommend that we be deputies. So, because one man, especially if we open up contaminated area, we're gonna have clam diggers coming from Gloucester, Ipswich, Essex, all over the place. I got a call the other day, for instance, where we know that there's Gloucester guys digging in Newburyport that'll start pushing the line in Newbury. I have no, from what I understand, I have no power control to go down and say, hey, you can't dig there.
Yeah. All right.
Tracy, were you gonna?
Chairman Story, is that something we should refer to the Personnel Board to review that?
Review the job descriptions, and you guys don't really have job descriptions because you're elected positions, but there's something there, but.
As
why
it
don't we have
moves
the
to
Personnel
appointed?
Board
The
see-
warden has a.
Yes.
The warden has a job description.
Yes.
So we could work off that to come up with a job
The
description. for
assistants.
The deputy wardens.
So we'll let the Personnel Board do it, and then you guys are available for, if they have a question, right?
Yep.
'Cause you know how it works.
Yep.
You're quite right about the deputies, because that's how Charlie started off when he was first appointed many years ago,
Yeah,
when Vern
correct.
Noyce was a thing. So you're quite right on that, and I don't think we ever appointed anybody else.
Now,
So-
are the-
Well, we did, I think it was Bob Fornia happened to be a deputy, but he gave it up.
Okay, oh, okay. I stand
Now,
corrected.
are the deputies gonna supposedly have to go to the same schooling that clam wardens are supposedly going to?
I did mine, I used to work at Essex.
Okay.
Well, again, that's part of working out.
Personnel
Simple.
Board review.
That'd be part of the job description.
Yeah.
Right.
Simple.
Thank you.
Okay, no, that's
Not a
good.
big
So-
deal, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, much to the Fish Commissioner's credit, they've been working very hard in contact with Boston, with David Wilson
Yeah,
and
no.
ethics. And once we all recognized that there was an issue, everyone's been working together to resolve it, so.
Paul, Mike's got a question. And can the person that makes the regulation enforce it? That'd be a question, just so that we're clear. Okay, and you think about it, and
But again, we're
With
the
the
ones that
waiver.
make the regulations, not the Fish Commission. Right, the Board of Selectmen
yeah,
are the
they
ones
recommend it to us and we make it. We're the ones who sign it. Yeah, so,
for
but
that separation.
on your list of things, because we want to be clear that we don't want someone coming back later and saying, you know, this is wrong with that, and you guys have been, like Tracy said, been great, and you made your calls already, and we're trying to get this
So that
working out.
separation exists, David, because they could be recommending, but we're still striking the regulation.
Well, again, they can't recommend till we make them
But I'm
appointed,
saying
but
if
once
they-
we make, yeah.
If they do, yeah.
The good thing is that we only have a short time in the spring between when
Mm.
the clamming season really gets going and the meetings.
These guys
begin
go
to
all
meet,
winter.
so The,
Yeah,
but it's a little calmer in the winter than it is in
yeah.
the warmer
Okay,
months. so.
and if there's anything that you guys think, I think the first thing is call Boston, see if there's a problem. And then just, instead of being like a recommendation, contact any of us and we'll open the discussion,
Right.
okay?
But I think when you call Boston, unless I'm getting really confused, you're only recommending regulation.
That's right, that's what we do.
So
They-
make sure they realize that
They
when
know.
you're talking to them.
Yeah, they're not gonna give us any recommendations till they become appointed
No, I
Yeah.
know,
going
I
forward.
know, but I'm just saying, when he calls
Okay.
Boston, to see if they can enforce
And again, the other thing
regulations.
that I wanna point out, and I hope there's people at home watch this on television, is anyone that's a commercial clamor, if they think that something should be modified or changed, contact the selectmen.
I told
Yeah,
them,
and that, you know,
it's easier.
yeah, well, and also, that makes it a little bit cleaner,
Right, yeah.
so, because that, you know, any recommendation can come from anybody, and so you're doing it as individual, not the board, and I think that's all set. Good.
So we got closed areas gonna be, what we could have open for the town to make money, but I can't say, right?
Yep. Give Jeff a map, and next time he goes down River, he'll look at them.
We actually do have a map. The state gave us a map of where the line is. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. All right, so, okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, things are complicated now. Jeez, creepies.
All right, the minutes of the September 10th meeting. Now, I was here, Chuck was here, and Jeff was here. Motion,
Motion to approve.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The September 24th meeting,
I was here. Motion to approve.
Second.
wait a minute,
We don't, I don't see
I got a question.
How much you on
the 24th.
Who's MB?
Right here.
Mike Bulgaris?
Oh. Tell story.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see.
Mountain Bear.
Wow, all right, motion was made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Yep. And on October 1st was myself, MB, David, and Jeff.
I make a motion
I
to
wa-
accept.
Oh, I wasn't here, was I?
Yep.
Was I here on that one?
Yeah, you were.
Didn't read that then.
Yep.
I'm gonna-
Yeah, I didn't realize they were all together in one
Oh,
file,
okay,
so I'm
now I get it.
so
All right,
trying to read as fast
okay,
as
motion
I
was
can.
then made,
Yep.
seconded.
Yep.
Any changes or anything? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Media forms, the final approval.
I'll pass it to you.
I couldn't think of what MB was.
That's all I did.
This, David, well, go ahead, we'll let you.
You recovered well, though, Joe.
Yeah.
Give you that.
Yeah. David, you worked on these?
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't pull them up right now. It's like,
I got 'em
again,
right here.
technology is defeating our efforts to.
You must be in a
But-
bad spot.
No.
And again,
there
if
isn't.
someone
I
has
got it.
questions.
Bad karma.
Yeah, if someone has questions, you know, I mean,
What goes, this is informational, and then this is the form, or what is this and what is that? As I read it.
yeah, I mean, basically, these forms were essentially copied from sort of standard stuff that's being used by other towns.
Suppose
And
like
so,
the balloons.
They're not copyrighted.
We'll need a
yeah, so
Dropbox.
there's,
Needed to come
and
along
you know,
for
the
a slide
concern we
going
had,
over.
you know, generally, and I
Dang it.
think, you know,
Go
all towns
away.
are trying to protect themselves, is that
All right.
we would like to solicit material from the
2,
community that we
6.
could put on the
That's
Newbury
right.
Channel. We just want to make sure that we're not getting involved in
Business
copyright
minutes,
infringement, we're not getting involved in
Media
desirable
documents, that would
things
be
like
it?
pornography and so forth. So it's really, it's kind of the motherhood and apple pie side of it.
All right.
I think,
And again, you know, what we're gonna try to do is make sure that at least some set of the media committee reviews the material before it goes on the air. And of course, you know, Cale was the one who actually puts it on the air, you know, and so he'll be reviewing it as well. But, and from what at least from what I know of what happens in other communities, rarely is it an issue. You know, I mean, we're obviously not gonna put campaign ads on the town website or things like that. So, and, you know, there's been material that's been developed over the years that I think would be of community interest, where
It's fine to me.
local people or even sometimes people from outside of town have, you know, made videos of, for example, one I'm looking into right now is a great video where Ben Pearson led a tour through the snuff mill and explained how the snuff was made and, you know, what the roles of the different machinery are. And, you know, it's an important part of our town's history, and, you know, so it kind of fits in with the stuff like Caleb has done with Jim Cunningham about the mining area and so forth. So I think, you know, we don't all even know yet what all is out there, but we're hoping, because, you know, one of the complaints we get is it's the same old if you go to the channel, and we want to try to, you know, diversify it a little bit. We're not going to become a major network or something, but, you know, we'd like to put more up there than just board and committee meetings.
You happy with the forms? You wanna make a motion, you wanna do it next time?
What's the,
The motion,
I'll make a motion.
that we
and some-
adopt these forms?
That we adopt these forms, but if
Second the
anyone
motion.
wants to change that motion, so they get more time to read them, that's fine too.
Motion made second already.
Okay. Comments?
Oh, all set.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, this is on the subject, I wanna,
Thank you, David.
Yes.
like, let everyone know what a great job Caleb's doing, you mentioned his name, and, it was funny, I was in a discussion about what goes on there and what doesn't, and I said, for instance, if we had something outrageous, you know, that wanted to go on there, and he looked at me and he said, I wouldn't go record that, you know, and so I think we got a great asset with Caleb.
So we're gonna.
Unfortunately, he had to come out and take a bow.
Take a bow.
The man behind the
Think
door.
you have to go, Caleb.
Who's behind that curtain, huh?
He's not coming out.
Now, we have a letter from the Raleigh Finance Committee. You got that? Yeah. Okay. This is
Dang it, keep shutting itself off.
regarding the Triton District Communications Committee meetings. And it's a letter to Chairman Deb Choate and Superintendent Farmer. The Raleigh Finance Committee wishes to express its concern that the Triton District Communications Committee meetings are now being scheduled in the afternoon. Peter Sensulo, the Raleigh Finance Committee representative to the district committee, is not able to attend these meetings because of work commitments. The meetings historically have been held in the evenings. With this change of time, we'll no longer be able to have a representative at these meetings. We on the Finance Committee are concerned that other district committee representatives are faced with the same problem. Peter contacted Triton Executive Assistant Patricia Morelli last week to explain that he would not be able to attend the October and November meetings, which are both scheduled for 1 p.m. Peter has not received a response. In light of this situation, I, on behalf of the Raleigh Finance Committee, strongly request that you reconsider your decision to hold these meetings in the afternoon and go back to the 7 p.m. time slot. And it was sent by
Lawrence White.
Lawrence White.
Lawrence D. White, yeah.
So anyway,
The thing too, Joe, is it was,
that,
when I was reading this, it was, came to the Raleigh Board of Selectmen, Newbury Board of Selectmen, chairs, and chair of the Newbury Finance Committee, and chair of the Salisbury Board of Selectmen, and chair of the Salisbury Finance Warrant Advisory Committee. I mean, where this gets odd is we're not the people that maybe are attending those meetings, it's more so
David,
our finance, you don't
don't you go
attend
to
that
some of those
meeting, do you?
meetings?
Yeah, I thought, Jeff, you were the
No,
one.
no.
Okay.
All right, you ready? I go to the school board meetings, okay? And what meeting did you go to at Triton?
Well, for a while, I was on the committee that was looking into the recommendation that the high school and middle school were merged.
Right.
I think I attended a communications meeting, but as I recall, we appointed Jeff as
Right.
the representative
Right.
to the, and I certainly agree with the concerns.
But
from
not
the-
this seems to be finance committee folks that
That's-
are.
Yeah, it's communications.
No, it's the Communications Commission.
Communications
It's the committee that you're on. We thought you were on it.
But I think what they're doing is telling us that it's gonna be difficult for people to meet an afternoon meeting. And,
Right.
they'd like something from us and saying, we're okay with it, or we would prefer it to go back to night, like, that's it. Any ideas?
I think the evening makes sense, because you want to get representatives from the, community, especially like from your Board of Selectmen or something, and unless someone is retired or has a very flexible job, it's a real problem. And of course, from the administrator's point of view, it's much more convenient if they can go during working hours, but at the same time, school committee meetings are in the evening and so on. So it seems like, to me, that request from the town of Raleigh is right on target.
What do you think?
I agree with
Doc? Yep, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still looking, I guess I have never realized the meetings that I was supposedly attending was called the Triton District Communication Committee meetings,
Okay.
so, huh.
All right, so, if we're in favor of that, do we want a motion to send a letter?
I'll make a motion that we send a letter requesting the evenings be scheduled in the evening as they were in the
Okay.
past.
So Kathy, we draft that up, and, basically, it can pretty much be the same letter, correct? Just the
Change a few words to protect
change,
the
yeah,
innocent.
from Raleigh Finance Committee to the Newbury Board of Selectmen.
See, the thing that I'm still, I guess I'm gonna be quiet about it, but I'm surprised that the school committee members can get there at 1 o'clock. It doesn't make sense to me, but if this is the same meeting, okay.
We don't know that they can, maybe they don't attend.
Well, the meeting change emanated from Triton.
All right. So the motion's been made to mirror this letter.
Yep.
Kathy will write it, and, I guess it came to me, so I'll sign it. Okay? All right. Motion's been made, seconded. Okay.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good, done. Okay, it does, I think it's, people are much more available at night than
Yeah.
people at work, you know?
I mean, okay.
Okay, we gotta think, CZM request for land acquisition projects, read and file. Okay, yeah, you do it, I'm coughing.
This is a communication from CZM, and it's relevant to the coastal and estuarine land conservation program request for responses, and the short and long of it is, I guess, is the Office of Coastal Zone Management has issued a RFR, which is request for responses seeking proposals for land acquisition projects consistent with the state coastal and estuarine land conservation plans that has a significant ecological, conservation, recreational, historic, or aesthetic values. This RFR is in response to the notice of funding availability from the National Oceanic, from NOAA, for their coastal and estuarine land conservation program. This is the 7th year that CZM is using the RFR process to help identify the state's highest priority coastal land acquisition projects. CZM will review the applications submitted in response to the RFR to identify and select the state's priority coastal land acquisition projects, and will then nominate them to NOAA for consideration in a national ranking process. NOAA will use the results of the national process to select projects for the RFR funding in FY 2014. The maximum amount that can be requested per project is $1 million, and 1-to-1 non-federal match is required. So that's about it.
All right. Do we have any warrants to sign? Okay. Any updates on any meetings that anyone went to? I don't think so. One update, me and Jeff were talking to Mark Friary, and he has suggested that he put together a presentation, someone from the state side and someone from the industry side, on an update on the changes that have gone through on solar farms, as far as they changed the CERCs, the energy credit thing. And he's gonna put together people to explain to us how that works and how the new regulations make sense, or how they hear. Does that, and his thing is, you know, he thinks that if we're informed, then it's easier than stumbling and hearing one attorney or another attorney and be, swayed by it. Does that make sense to people?
Yeah, as we're expecting more proposals in the future, and
Yeah.
as a special permanent granting authority, behooves us to be well-informed.
Yeah, so that's, you know, and again, and he's agreed to put someone from the government side and someone from the industry side together, and, we'll see. All right, we'll, see when we can get them here.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we have a better understanding of the business model for this industry, it puts us in a stronger position if we get into negotiating over,
Exactly.
you know, some of these payments and so forth.
So anyway, he's got Representative Mira and Senator Tar, gonna be in. When he made what's happened is the way that, right now, the way that they're being spread out across the state in the different areas. Some areas are locked out of them by National Grid and this and that. And Senator Tar brought up a good point that this happened a few years ago. The state thought they had everything covered with fiber optics as far as where they were gonna be put in and implemented, and a lot of places got left out. And he said that, he said it's not the same, but it's a similar analogy. And so they're gonna look at that part of it at the Boston level. And he's probably gonna, if we have it, the invitation will go out to some people from other communities too that are interested. So it's an informative thing. So anyway, we'll work on getting together a time and date for that.
Okay, and it's probably better sooner than later, because we have no idea when the next application's gonna
Will
come.
come forward.
Probably gonna come soon, from
Yeah,
what I hear out in the donut shop,
yeah,
so.
All right.
the Duncan connection.
Yeah. No, the new one is over in Raleigh, Archie's. So, anyway, all right, that's what we've got. Motion?
Nope.
Oh, nope.
Executive session?
You want me to make the motion?
Yeah.
I move we enter into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of this body. Roll call vote.
Bulgaris,
Bulgaris, yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Mountain,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Story, yes. Okay, now, reconvene at the conclusion of the executive session. You need that, right?